I am so thrilled to be on this Zoom this morning with the incredible, the incomparable Mr. Dan Levy. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, me too. As you can see, I am also sporting a sweater, as I knew you would be, because you wearing sweaters has definitely inspired me. I happen to be sporting this Christopher John Rogers, who is also a SCAD alumni.
Wait, hold on. I want to see. What else do we have there? We have blue, we have red.
All the colors. He's got the whole world in his hands, like all of it. All of it. It's pretty great. This angle just doesn't do the whole sweater the justice.
I know. Sometimes you gotta almost like pay respect to the whole thing. You
Absolutely. It's like a floor-length gown. You just got to see the whole thing. So if a younger Dan Levy were graduating from SCAD today, how would he navigate this world and what would be his first steps?
I would probably do the same thing that I did. I would probably say, what's next? I would probably try my best. I would try a bunch of things. I would work really hard. I think, you know, we're at a cross section right now where I feel like we've all become accustomed to kind of expecting things. We expect things to land in our laps. I think we have cultural references on television. We have celebrities that have made it look very easy. And the reality is, if you want to get far in an industry, you have to be so passionate about what you're doing. You can never take a day for granted. And even when you have success, you have to be able to know that that success has nothing to do with what you are doing as a job or what you are doing what your passion play is. Because that can be really disorienting. And I think, you know, in the arts, because we're such creative people, there's a sensitivity to all of that too. And I think it's always just about taking a beat on yourself and realizing, okay, how do I feel? Am I feeling good about this? Am I in a job that makes me feel good? It's all about reading yourself, because, you know, I was in toxic workplaces that did not make me feel good, and I stayed, and in a way I'm glad I did, but in a way I wish I had spoken up more. There's a very big difference between honoring yourself in a workplace and not doing the work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I did, at least. I tried to be, you know, if I wasn't the best at it, I tried to work the hardest at it. And you get recognized that way. People are aware of the hard workers, and you will be lifted up. And when you get to that place, when you are successful, I think it's so crucial to never take success for granted and always use that success to help others, because it's a very lonely place to be successful in something and not share that opportunity with other people. That's certainly something that I have realized. It's always been something, I think, as a gay person, you know, as an actor, as a writer, my voice was not often front and center in entertainment. And to now have the kind of access and opportunity that I have, it's so crucial for me, and, you know, to make sure that I am using whatever opportunity I have to also lift up and provide opportunities for other people, friends of mine, peers of mine that I know are not necessarily front and center in the industry, but whose voices are necessary. So paying it forward is such a crucial part of the whole process.
So every day for 6 seasons on Schitt's Creek, you got to work with legends and mentors and friends, Catherine O'Hara, and of course, your father, Mr. Eugene Levy. So what qualities do you see in professionals of that caliber that young professionals should also seek to emulate?
Oh my goodness. It was, for the longest time, my dad had raised my family away from entertainment. I grew up in Toronto. He worked primarily in Los Angeles, and he would go away and do his work, and he would come home because for him it was really important that me and my sister not be raised in an industry, to not be raised feeling like, you know, Hollywood kids, That was really not his vibe at all. And I was really grateful for that sacrifice, because it was a sacrifice. You know, he had young kids and was having to leave for, you know, months at a time to do a job and come back knowing that he was protecting us from a pretty strange and crazy and volatile place. And what I never got to see, though, with him going away, was what he was like at work. And so to finally get to work with him and to watch him be the leading voice, him and Catherine, is like the, you know, the two stars of the show, really set the tone for the entire production. And the greatest takeaway from that entire experience was watching the way that they created a egoless, respectful, safe workplace where everybody felt valued. There was never any sense of power structure. There was never any volatility. There was never any fights. It was always paramount that everyone who showed up to work, whether you were working in craft service, whether you were a background performer, whether you were someone in production design, that you knew that your job on our show was as valuable as the next person. Yeah. And when you create that kind of environment, you not only get people at their best because everyone feels justifiably so, like they have a stake in what they're making, but they also feel excited to be there, and they feel like a part of a community. And as someone who for many years did not feel like part of a community at work, you don't do your best work. You're not putting your best foot forward. You don't feel respected. And that's a really corrosive thing after a while. So to watch them, after so many years in this industry, continue to forge such a respectful path when it came to creating such a loving environment for people to work, that was so crucial and informative for me, because not only was I able to see my dad in a different light and really respect him even more for the way that he conducts himself in his business, and you also realize, oh, this is why you've lasted so long in a very fickle industry, because people want to work with you.
Well, we have covered an incredible amount of ground today, and I definitely want to thank you for being a part of this SCAD 2021 commencement. Before we go, for all of our graduates, what are the final words that you'd like to leave them with?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, congratulations. It is a huge accomplishment, and I always feel so hopeful about artists coming up. And, you know, especially right now, you are just on the precipice of the next stage of your life. You're on this sort of, you have this door open to you in terms of what comes next. What am I going to say? How am I going to say it? How am I going to go about saying it? And the one thing that I would say is follow through. That's the greatest advice I could give, because so few people actually do it. So if you have an idea for something, in whatever form of the arts it is, if you have that painting you have in mind and it gets tricky and you are given that crossroads of, do I give up on it or do I keep going? Always keep going. If you're a writer and you want to write a book or a book of poetry or a television show or a movie, and it gets a bit daunting and intimidating and you get that writer's block, don't give up on it. Because at the end of that experience, you will have something. And even if that something is not the greatest thing you will ever make in your life, you have gone through the experience of knowing what it is to make something from beginning to end. And that is such a useful thing to take with you. If you're a writer, you will have something to show to an agent. If you are a painter, you will have something to show to a gallery. You will have something. And 99% of the people out there have all the ideas in the world, but never follow through on it. So if you are that person that can walk into a room with something, some expression of your creativity that you have completed, you are so far ahead of a lot of people. So that is what I would say. Always follow through, or take it as far as you possibly can.
Well, awesome. Well, on that note, I definitely want to re-thank you and just say this has been such a pleasure and an honor.
Congratulations, SCAD class of 2021. You did it.